Shawn, Kenney here, playing some more StarMade. And so what I have for you today is I was working on a small little cruiser build. I guess small, I mean, it ended up being about the size of our destroyer. But it's going to be a lot more business end, a lot less observation deck. Now, while I had the power generator exposed, I thought, what a great opportunity to once again show how power generators are working in this game. So I've started off, mostly what you want to be focusing on is the cube section of this power generator. So what I did was I framed out a space that I wanted to use for power generation using the 3-axis blocks or cube edges, basically, and just sort of made one and then made one opposite it to frame out the size of a cube. And then all I did was move in from one side to the other, making one slightly smaller than the next, and continuing that until there was no more space left, and we filled it up. Now, there's still a lot of space left in this volume that can be taken up by generators. Now, what we need to do, though, is just make them these L-shaped track generators, and you need to place them so that they're on a diagonal against these other blocks. So as you can see here, I'm just taking one extra block out there, but let's take that out. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just making these L-shaped tracks to fill up the side space for this generator, and this is just going to basically increase the amount of power generation we have per second, while still squeezing within the same size space. And that's going to leave some spaces in there. At the end, what I'm going to do is go and stuff them all full of shield generator blocks, because they don't need to be in a specific pattern. It's strictly the more power generation blocks you have, the faster you're going to be generating your power. So we want to stuff those in all over the place. I like stuffing them inside this generator here, and then I'll be having some more throughout the ship as well. We may also need some power, the power tanks that will increase the absolute amount of power that we can have on our ship. But for the moment, this is just going to be just the power generators here. I just wanted to show you how I end up doing them once I've gotten this part done. And so as you can see, I'm just basically going to be going around the different sides, finding the space where I can put in some more L-shaped generators and adding them in, and just going around from face to face, just sort of adding in each layer of extra generators, and it's so that I can sort of see if there's any space, any place where I can put more. So I'm just sort of filling in the top, getting an idea where it's all going to go here. I'm going to add some to the side. I'm just going to be going around and around until basically all the space is filled up within this cube with power generation. And anything else that I try and add at that point, is only going to basically take away from the power generation. So I'm just laying those channels down. Now the other thing that you can see is it's going to start developing a pattern. You're going to have sort of like an L-shaped bit taking about 3/4 of the cube, and then the end bits forming a bit of a grid, forming up the last quadrant of the grid. So if you're doing this right, it's going to start to resemble this for you. This is an easy way of just sort of having your eye catch whether you're missing anything or not, because it'll look odd if every side is looking about the same and you're not able to, and another side isn't. Usually catches your eye and usually gives you an indication where you need to put the next generator. So as you can see, I've just sort of been rotating, going around, just seeing everywhere I can squeeze it in, and I think we're getting pretty close to done there. So I think we got this basic the power generation for this cruiser ship that I'm going to be making. And yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty much it. So as you can see, I'm just going to take that then and fill it completely solid with power generators. We'll try out the cannon. Seems to be working pretty good. The generation's alright with just this cannon. Now I'm going to be adding a few turrets onto it or a couple large turrets really, and ends up getting a little bit close. I'm going to have to add, ultimately, after the final testing, I'm going to have to add a little bit more power to this, but it's not a whole lot. As you can see, maybe up here, I did add a couple more channels of armor or power just below the layer of armor on the top. So I might have to add a couple more to the bottom just to give this full power, fully power up this ship. So as you can see, I just added a couple of really massive turrets on there. They're going to be really the main weapon of this ship. It's just basically one solid antimatter cube or block. The entire center of that's all one big antimatter cannon, and then I put a layer of shield generators on the outside, and then a layer of hardened hull, and then the slanted hardened hull. So it's really about 2 to 3 layers of hardened hull in places, and just for the extra protection to make those turrets pretty tough. And I have the two of them, and it's actually kind of not a very large ship. That, as you can see, the cabin there it's only a small space. The rest of the ship is it's solid. Say 2 to 3 layers of hull. In most cases in the ship, I have a layer of lighter inner hull, and then a layer of outer hull, and then we have the hardened slope block. So that's kind of making up about 3 layers of armor in most cases around the ship. So this is basically it. And then I just have those the engine nacelles there. That's just solid thrusters. So it's got a fair amount of get up and go. It can move around pretty good. It's still a little bit heavier, so it's a little sluggish in the turning, but certainly not as sluggish as, say, the Dreadnought. So it should be a fairly maneuverable little craft. I'm hoping this is going to work out fairly well. So as you can see, I've just sort of I have the layer of shield blocks, then a layer of armor, then the layer of hardened outer hull. I did it that way mainly to give make sure I have a lot of shield generation, and I figure if that's sort of on the inside of the hull, then it's also acting as another block that could be preventing damage from the components on the inside. So we have some thick armor, fairly well protected. I'm hoping this cruiser will work out pretty good. So as you can see, just the backwards turret tends to always face backwards. When you have it upside down like that, there's doesn't seem to be any way to say rotate it. And then that's the power core. Basically, that's 3 layers of hardened hull that I've layered around it. So it's just all solid. Everything else has been filled with shield generators. So this basic little cruiser design. I'm going to call it a cruiser. I mean, maybe it's a little smaller than a cruiser, maybe a nice destroyer variant. This one's definitely going to be a lot more lethal than my other destroyer, though, that's for sure. So as you can see, I've ended up having to add like a channel of power, and I just added those sort of underneath the layer of hardened hull along the top. This is my initial testing. I was running out of power. And I'll probably be doing another channel down, and so I'll probably just pick up the layer of armor here, and then add a channel of power generators underneath, and then put the hardened hull back on the outside. But probably won't do that now. Like I said, it's working for the most part okay. Probably just need to squeeze in a little bit more power generation, and probably a little bit more power blocks if I can figure out where to squeeze those in. As you can see, it's all pretty solid at this point. So I'm gonna, anything I'm gonna have to add on is gonna either add mass to it, or I'm gonna have to take away from some armor or some shields or something to improve it a little bit. So I figured while I have it here, let's try maybe a weapons test or something. Maybe we can try spawning in an enemy. I was just trying to see if I had any ships to set to an enemy AI. But then we'll have to spawn something. I don't want it to go quite up against a dreadnought yet. Maybe save that for the next episode. We'll try doing an initiate wave. But that doesn't seem to be working now. I don't know whether there was something that broke, or for whatever reason the initiate wave command wasn't working for me, so I wasn't able to spawn in just a wave of enemies, which is what I was really hoping for. Now here I'm apparently there's a bit of motion in the ship, and I got thrown to the back of the ship as it's moving slightly through space. So I'm just trying to, there we go, hit the gravity button and get within the local gravity well of our ship. All right, so let's spawn us a target to test it out. All right, so we have the I guess I could draw anything, but we'll get one of these the basic enemy AI ships here. We'll just try spawning one of those in. Actually, I was going to try spawning a couple, but only one of them appeared, so we'll just have to go with that, I guess. Alright, this will just a basic test, make sure everything's going to be working fine. Alright, so get in place, you see, and turn around a little bit. But it doesn't take long to get to accelerate up to full speed. It's slightly slow turning, but pretty quick as far as accelerating and decelerating. So I'm going to get us out a little bit to a range, and we'll be able to start the ship AI here. Anytime I do this, I wanted to get a bit of an outside view here, so we'll be able to see as it happens, but there we go. Alright. So, let's find, there it is. Alright, let's target that, and let's set that to an enemy AI. So it's start underscore ship underscore AI, and use the tag -1 to make it a pirate. There we go. And alright, well, our turrets are right off the bat unleashing. Now, as you can see from the power generation, we're going through all our power every second, and then it's getting like regenerated. So here's what I was thinking was why we're going to need to maybe add some power tanks, just to give us a larger upper limit for how that power is going to be working. But for the most part, it seems to be working. You know, I mean, we're still generating so much power that, you know, even though we're using it all up, the turrets are definitely drawing a fair amount of power while they're firing. So, like I said, you know, when you come to these designs, it does take a little bit of tweaking, because you're never quite sure what you're going to need, depending on what turrets you end up adding to your ship in the final design, and you know, you keep using what you think is a power core that's going to be enough. So it's just letting the turrets mostly do the work here. They're not getting anywhere. I mean, they're barely scratching the surface of our shields. Oh, and that's it. So not much of a tough fight there. Like I said, for whatever reason, the initiate wave wasn't working for me. Whereas, you know, that'd be a little bit better challenge. Maybe get 5 or 6 of those guys out to try and hunt me down. Which probably, you know, maybe do some further testing in a further video. But for now, that's just basically, I just wanted to give you the cruiser design. Once again, having a look at the power generations, how those work, how I end up forming most of my power generators. Most of my ships have sort of a core like that at their center, and that's going to be the main power generator, and then I can add tracks of generators, you know, as I need them from there forward. So yeah, this is just a little basic cruiser build so far. I'm Shawn Kenney. Thanks for watching. So long for now.